Hello everyone, my name is Megan O'Brien and I chose to do my ISM paper on homelessness. And my question is, why do educators lower their standards for students experiencing homelessness instead of helping them get the tools they need to be successful academically and socially? So we are going to look into a few things to kind of tell us if a student is homeless, and then what we as teachers can do to offset that obstacle to make them successful. Students who are experiencing homelessness, for one, you might not even know that they're homeless, but they are at a greater risk for poor health and well-being and negative social outcomes. They're often exposed to stressful life events such as domestic violence, sexual abuse, parental mental health difficulties, families being separated, peer violence, gang violence, and we need to figure out how we can help them. Many students are not willing to let you know that they're homeless. Some might not even say that they're homeless if they have an actual place to live. Maybe it's their friend's house one day, or their aunt's house the next day, or their granny's house the next day. But they're still considered homeless students if they do not have a home base that is consistent. And the students, they might also work harder to blend in with their peers who aren't homeless so that there is no pointing them out or difference between them and their peers. The biggest thing I wanted to do with this paper was to find out what we as teachers can do, because I myself have experienced having a homeless student and it just broke my heart for him. So that is the biggest takeaways I got from this, was what I can do to help these kids, to still hold them accountable academically and socially, and not just, oh baby, it's okay because you can't do this because you don't have a home. Like, I want to still hold them accountable and make them successful and know that they can overcome obstacles. So some of the things that I learned were some classroom-based strategies, and the most important one in every paper that I read was behavioral management, keeping it the same. It is the same for everyone, and especially those students who don't have a stable home life because they need that stability. It also said that teachers should give clear, concise rules, be consistent, but non-punitive when enforcing them. And I found that really interesting, to not be so mean and hateful towards them, I guess. All of the articles I read also talked a lot about homework and how us as educators, it's really easy to blame the kids on not bringing their homework or doing their homework, or why don't you have your backpack, or where's your agenda. I know I personally teach and preach responsibility, and I do understand that sometimes it is out of their control, and that's what a lot of these articles are telling us, that those are things that us as adults need to deal with rather than blaming the kids. And it asked, how can you blame a kid for not doing their homework when they have no place to do homework, or even the materials to do homework at home, or at a shelter, or on the street, or in a car, or wherever it is they may be. So that is more of an adult issue for us, having to figure out how to give them a place to work and time to work if you are going to require them to do their homework. And that's part of that accountability piece. You have to figure out how that's going to look in your classroom. Educators should not see homeless students as threatening, Instead, we just need to get to know them. We need to understand them and what their needs are. We need to figure out what's bothering them. Is there something else going on? Um, and also try to find a way to connect with them. You can be their person that they trust, their person that they see every single day. Um, be that one stable person in their life, and kids will respond to that. They'll be happy. They'll perk up. They will show love and care towards you. And kids are very resilient in these types of situations. One of the major things that any educator, anyone that works in your building, needs to do before they can do anything else is make sure that the student's basic needs are met. Do they have food? Do they have clothes? Do they get to comb their hair? Do they get to brush their teeth? Do they get to wash their face? Do they have a roof over their head or a way to get to school every day? Um, those are definitely the things that need to be taken care of first before the academics, before the social skills. Because if those things aren't taken care of, the student isn't worried about what's 2 plus 2. They're worrying about, am I going to get to eat lunch today? Am I going to get to take a snack home for tonight? Because I know I'm not going to have dinner. So if anyone in your building encounters a student that may appear homeless or show signs of homelessness, the very, very first thing that you need to do is make sure that their needs are being met, whether by you or your family resource center person or whoever it is you have in your building that is able to help with those types of situations. And whoever that person is in your building is also in charge of the community outreach, making sure that they know what shelter they're in, or even to help their family get into a safe place, and that they are making the transportation changes that need to be made, and they're speaking with the parents if they're able to, and getting them to come into the school so they can get help with their situation. So those things are also very important to stay in communication with the schools, with the school, the parents, and the shelters. And the last thing is that us as adults need to remember that the kids didn't create this unfortunate situation for themselves. It's what they are in, and that's the sad part. They don't have a way to get out of it because they are just kids. So, us as educators, us as just humans, we need to support the kids and we need to love them, and we need to consider that we might be their person, and that's okay. It's a big job, but we're in this profession to help kids, and it might not be helping them to read right now. It might be helping them to trust, but eventually you will get to help them to read. And I learned a lot from researching this, and I know that I will encounter this situation again in the future, which is very disheartening, but I feel more equipped to handle it and more ready to handle it, and I hope you guys do too. Have a great rest of the day. Thanks for listening.